Good morning.
Hi, my loves. Tonight, I would like to talk about Frank Matthews, aka the gangster that got away. Frank Matthews, also known as Black Caesar, Mark IV, and Pee Wee, an American gangster who sold drugs throughout the eastern United States through the 1965 era to the 1972 era. At the peak of his career, he operated in more than 21 states and supplied to drug dealers throughout the United States region. The DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Administration, ranks him as one of the top 10 most notorious drug traffickers in the United States history. He is also estimated to have had more than $20 million in savings. He led an extravagant, flamboyant life with many luxurious cars, homes, and clothes. One of many highlights would be Frank Matthews hosted a Afro-Hispanic summit for drug dealers. This summit was held in Atlanta in 1971 and another in Las Vegas in 1972. In 1973, Matthews was arrested for tax evasion. Born Frank Lavery Matthews on February 13, 1944. Frank's mother died at an early age, so he was raised by his aunt. At the age of 14, he led a gang which stole chickens. In 1960, Matthews was arrested and served a year for theft and assault. Upon his release, he was moved to Pennsylvania, where he became a numbers writer. While in Philadelphia, he made new connections, which would include one Mr. Major Carston. Carston was a member of the Black Mafia. He was later arrested in 1963 and evaded arrest and conviction by agreeing to move out of Philadelphia. This is where he moved to New York and became a barber, a number writer, and an enforcer. While in New York, Matthews met a Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez put him in touch with a supplier who would later give him his first key, which at the time was retail price of $20,000. Right after that, Gonzalez had to flee the country, but not before solidifying a connection between Matthews that would continue throughout the years. By the 1970s, the Matthews organization was earning multi-million-dollar loads in their drug deals. In New York City, Matthews ran 2 drug mills. Both locations were fortified with steel walls, bulletproof doors, and windows, not to mention bodyguards with protection gear and machine guns. Matthews would even take trips to Vegas multiple times a year to increase his sales and to also launder his money. Anywhere between 15 to 18% of his money was laundered through the casinos. As said before, Matthews organized a African American Hispanic drug dealers summit, which was put on the radar of the local police department, and they were able to monitor that summit. In this summit, they stressed to change the current flow of things to push out the old and bring in the new. Whereas the American and the Italian mafia chose to keep with the same old tradition. Typically, the mafia would supply and the African American drug dealers would be the distributors, and Matthews was trying to change that whole system up. Because he strived to change that system, it later filtered between Black and Spanish people, and that's how that summit came about. However, everything that is good does not mean it is great, meaning things did not stay that way. In 1972, on Easter, the Black Mafia killed one of Mr. Matthews' top drug dealers, and that incited a war. This became a small battleground outside of the club in Harlem, and there was over 600 people either shot or injured or witnessed what happened. Not to mention 3 of his top lieutenants were murdered by the Black Mafia. Let's change it up a little bit and talk about his disappearance and his arrest. Frank Matthews was both arrested in 1972 and in 1973. However, neither one of those resulted in a conviction. On July 2nd, 1973, Frank Matthews was scheduled to be in a Brooklyn courthouse. However, he never showed up. He left behind his common law wife and their 3 sons in a Staten Island mansion, I would say, to never be seen again. The FBI placed a $20,000 bounty on Frank Matthews' head. I would say one of the most highest that they had ever had at that time. Thank you, my loves, for your time. If you would like to know anything else about Mr. Matthews, I would say read the book. It is called Black Caesar. I will list everything you need to know in the description below.
Get your pre-orders now.
Okay!